Well, Dara, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on.
Thanks, Max.
It's been a long time coming. Yeah, I think first of all, like how we like to begin all these podcasts is just hearing a little bit more about your background, kind
Okay.
of where you grew up, and some of those experiences along the way. So yeah, can you just share a bit more about that?
Okay. Um, so I think a good third of my childhood is in Cambodia. Born raised in Phnom Penh until I was 10. 10, 11, then my parents sent me to the US. Um, to answer your question, I think at that period in time, most parents would send their kids out to foreign countries. So my cousins went to Singapore, I had cousins that went to France. I went to the US. Um, and yeah, I think it was for the pursuit of better education, security, and opportunities in life. Yeah. So went to the US, 10, 11, went through middle school, high school, university. After I finished my bachelor, I think 2010. Yeah, so 10, 11 years after that. Then I move on to the UK for another year to get my master's degree. Then back to Cambodia in 2011.
In
Yeah,
2011.
in
Okay.
2011. Yeah, yeah.
And what was it like? I mean, spending all that time in California. What was the community like there at the time? Like, what were you able to sort of, what were you like? Yeah, what was that experience like?
Yeah. So I went during the time when the internet was still dial-up internet. I don't know if you remember or you went through it.
Yeah, yeah.
We didn't have any of these convenient communication method. So at a time when the U.S. was still very much glorified, and so it was amazing. It was like, yeah, it was going to a first world country, most advanced country in the world, like easily identified as the most advanced country in the world, most developed,
Right.
richest country. Everything is like number one there, right? So to go from this emerging market or developing country to this giant is very good experience.
Yeah.
Experiencing McDonald's for the first time,
Yeah.
experiencing winter for the first time, just seeing the highways, the expressway, and this is coming from someone who have only mostly seen dirt roads and some asphalt road, but mainly dirt roads in Cambodia. To go from dirt road to highways, that I think that's huge leap. Yeah, experiencing school-wise, I think not too different because in Cambodia I was already at Northbridge in 1999 and 2000. So from Northbridge to the schools in the U.S. not too different, but
Right.
everything else, socially, economically, it was amazing. It was good, very good. Yeah.
And then you said you did your university in California as well.
Yeah.
Where did you go to university?
I went to University of California, Santa Cruz.
Nice.
It's
Okay.
in NorCal, so that's by right by San Francisco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, especially back then, San Francisco was a really cool place.
Yeah.
I think it still is. It's just gone through a little bit of complications
Yeah.
in the last
Yeah.
few
Yeah.
years.
That's
Yeah.
another topic of its own.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then what was it like then transitioning from San Francisco to London, right?
Bristol.
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 Okay.
Bristol. So the UK or Bristol was the first European city I've ever went to. Prior to that, I think my imagination of the UK is pretty much what Hollywood portrays. So it's a very traditional, more conservative. Obviously, loads of culture, old buildings. History.
Yeah.
Everyone was, I guess, better mannered. At least perceptually, that's what we're fed, right?
Right.
When I got to the UK, I think some of the aspects that we were shown, I think, were quite true. Obviously, it's a lot of history. Everything here is 1,000 years old. This is 500 years old. So that aspect is true. But in terms of being conservative and being very traditional, I think that part needed a bit of adjustment. I think British people know how to have fun. I had a good time in the UK.
Yeah, Bristol is actually quite well known to be like quite a fun university city.
Yeah, it was good. The mood, the vibe. I had a good time in the UK. Yeah, in Bristol particularly. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. That was the University of Bristol?
yeah. University
okay.
of Bristol. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like there's actually quite a lot of the Cambodian community that chooses University of Bristol.
So the current prime minister,
Right.
he received his PhD from Bristol UOB. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and so then after that you finished that. Well, what did you study? Your master's?
University of Bristol. I did economics.
Okay.
Management. Management. Yeah,
Okay.
management.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you use a lot of that theory today in management?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I don't know if this question will lead to another question, but if I had to do it again, I wouldn't mind doing it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, like stuff like SWOT analysis I still use. Understanding, we had courses on accounting, which I still use. Basic accounting, obviously. We had courses on economy. I think I still take reference from that. So understanding, I wouldn't say I know a lot of it, but just having enough knowledge to help shape some of our management and business decision. I think economically speaking, it came from the classes I took in school. Then there were other classes like understanding foreign culture when dealing with them. What are the Arabs like? What are the Chinese like? What are the etiquettes? What do you have to respect? What do you have to? Where's the border? Where's the line? Where do you cross? Where you don't cross? That was helpful, I think. Then there's also the aspect of teamwork. Working with team members, working with team members from diverse background, people of different ethnic. That helped me a lot. Yeah. So now I'm back in Cambodia. I'm not so much nowadays, but before COVID, I network a lot. I travel quite extensively in Southeast Asia for networking purposes, participating in ministry events, association events, and a lot of that came from, I think, that training or that period of time in uni when school kind of bunch you together with different people you don't know and say get things done, figure it out.
Yeah. That makes sense. But when you came back to Cambodia in 2011, what was it? What was just like it like I guess navigating that transition back? What were some things that kind of?
So when you go to more advanced countries and then you come out to Cambodia in 2011, you see opportunities everywhere because you are 10, 15, 20 years behind in terms of development. So that in the near future, people will need this. It's not here now, but it's coming. It's going to be needed, that in the next 5 to 10 years, this is what people will want. Yeah. And I think that only made Cambodia more appealing in terms of business opportunities, in terms of startup. I think that really made Cambodia more appealing, more attractive to start. And I remember feeling that because 2010, if I'm not wrong, internet at home was not really available yet, so we had to go to like internet cafes to have access to the internet. So the country was relatively undeveloped at the time. We didn't have any expressway yet like we do now from Phnom Penh to Sihanoukville. I think the road from Phnom Penh to Siem Reap was still potholed. So it was. I don't remember having any tall buildings over 15, 20 stories yet in 2010, 11. So that kind of landscape compared to what you see in London, in Bristol, in Paris, in LA, that was a lot of, I saw opportunities. You know, for me, it's like, okay, there's a lot of things you can do here.
And what were you mostly focused on to begin with? Like, how did you start your like entrepreneurial pursuits?
Yeah.
Like, what were some of the first few businesses that you decided to venture into?
Yeah. So there wasn't any particular concept, segment, sector, industry that I wanted to go into. I didn't wake up one day and say, you know what, I love tech and I'm gonna do tech. You know,
Right.
it's I never had that kind of a epiphany or that kind of a, I guess, light bulb moment. I think for me it was just wanting to do business in general. Yeah, just wanting to do business in general. Just wanting to start up something in general. You know, so 2011 I came back. I got a few gigs in Phnom Penh City. One of the first few gigs I did was interning at Gloria Jean's Coffee.
Gloria Jeans.
Gloria
There
Jean's
you
Coffee.
go.
So I heard from some of the former
They've really
staff.
stuck around a long time. It's
Yeah,
like one of
they've
the
been
few
around.
coffee shops that you're like, I feel like this one's been here a while.
They have been here for a while. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
But only one location? How many locations?
I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just know the one in BKK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the one I worked at.
Okay.
Yeah, so I interned there for a while as a barista. Yeah, so I did all the cashiering, coffee making.
Yeah.
I interned at a bank for a short while, doing very basic work. It was nothing noble. It's just to at least do something and not be at home lazy and wake up at 10. You know, so I did that for a while. Then after a while, I just felt like I needed to start something more concrete. I can't be. Let me see. I graduated my master's at 21, 22. Then I spent a year or two just going through different gigs, you know, and I don't think I can continue just doing gigs anymore, you know. So I had this crazy urge to just find something. I don't know what that something is, but something, you know, just something more concrete, something that is better, bigger. I remember wanting to trade rubber at one point, so I spent a bit of time researching rubber and realized that it's too big for me. Looked into water pipes, you know, the blue water pipes in construction. Wanted to import it from China, and then did some SWOT analysis I learned from, you know,
Yeah.
from school. Realized that I will never beat the local players because their pricing is already too good. Then I wanted to go into rice trading and realize that this is a national level kind of game. You know, you can't just one day decide to start up, you know, 1 kilo at a time. And it's not a kind of business where you go in small and, you know, so I was like, okay, that's not going to work. So I poked around at a lot of different things and I realized that I have no competitive advantage in anything. And it was too big, it was too hard, it needed too much capital, I didn't have money. So then...
yeah, I mean, agriculture especially requires like a lot of
money. Yeah, a lot of money. So I said, okay, that's for sure. I will not make it. Then I ventured into F&B because F&B, I think, required less capital. Ideally, I could probably maybe offer some competitive advantages because of all the ideas that I've seen overseas. You know, it's not they weren't new ideas. But they were new for Cambodia at the time, you know. So then we said, okay,
I think the quality of service is also like the thing.
Service.
It's not necessarily like the idea is new. It's like the standard, right?
Right.
Like setting a new standard.
Yeah, I agree. I think how do I put it? It was I wouldn't say it was easy, but it was much less competitive than today because the standards at the time when we entered the market, it was much lower.
Right.
So it was very easy to find areas to improve on.
Right.
Yeah, easier to find areas to improve on. So yeah, and then after all the different research, eventually we decided to go into F&B. Initially, I wanted to open a coffee shop. We wanted to franchise from Korea, flew to Korea, negotiated. That didn't work out. Then we said, let's start up our own. We wanted to call it Avenue Coffee, and this was like 2012, 13. That also didn't work out. You know, the logo was designed, uniform, shop, everything was done. Then I think we kind of chickened out at last minute. Yeah, so that didn't work out. Then we said, okay, let's go into bubble tea, because at the time, Cha Time just started, and I remember they had 3 stores, and we said, "Wow, so amazing! They have 3 stores. You know, it's such a great market. Yeah, let's go do bubble tea."
How many stores would have Brown have had at that time? Was it
3, 4?
Yeah, so
yeah, and that was a lot.
Yeah, it was like if you were at 2 or 3,
It's a lot.
like,
That's amazing.
good job.
If you had more than one, you're
More
amazing.
than one.
Yeah, you're doing well. You're doing great. Yeah, you're leading the market.
Yeah.
So I remember Char Time had 3 stores, and it was so amazing. Oh my God, they had 3 stores, and I remember sharing this exact expression to the owner of course. Like, oh my God, they had 3 stores. You know, like that's amazing. Yeah. Looking back, it's pretty funny, but so yeah. Then we wanted to go into milk tea, and funny enough, the first brand that we reached out to was not KOI. It was Gongcha.
Oh, Gongcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we
I think number 1 in like Singapore.
Singapore would be KOI.
So would it be KOI?
Vietnam would be KOI.
Gongcha is number 1 somewhere.
Korea.
Okay.
In Korea, yeah.
Got it.
And Australia too, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, we reached out to Gongcha, and bummer, you know, it was signed with someone else already.
Yeah.
So then we went to KOI, and we discovered KOI because my grandpa was sick back at that time period, and so my cousins and I were assisting him in Singapore, and so right next to the hospital was KOI, and that's how we kind of encountered KOI, you know. So we got in touch, and next thing you know, we opened KOI. We started KOI as our very first venture.
And where was your first location? Is it still there?
Location across from IFL, RUPP, still there. Still there.
Cool.
Yeah, 11 years ago.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It's like you still got it. Yeah.
So yeah, from there, and things just move on. More opportunities came along the way, and I think we just took what was available. We trialed error. You know, some worked out well, some didn't work out, some didn't work out so well. Some yeah.
And what are the I mean, maybe what were the challenges? Because you say some didn't work out so well. What were some of the challenges that I mean, obviously during COVID, right? It's a bit of a crazy time to operate F&B. How were you able to navigate that? What did that look like for your team?
I think for F&B, I want to say that it was difficult and challenging, but I don't want to overstate it. I don't want to over-exaggerate the difficulty.
Yeah.
It's difficult when you're competing with someone else that's having an easy time. But if it's a level playing field, then it is what it is for everyone. Then it's okay. You know, the level of understanding from the market, from the customer, is adjusted to that situation, right? So the challenges, again, not to exaggerate it. Number 1 was how to make sure we have employees to be able to perform the job, because there was a lockdown, and at one point, during the lockdown, there's no movement, right? So how do you manage that situation where employees needs a place to sleep, to shower, to take care of themselves, to eat, to cook, because you can't obviously go to the grocery and then at the same time be able to do work. So that was one challenge that we had to solve. Second was how do we get, if we solve the manpower issue, they can now produce or make whatever it is we're selling. How do we get that to the customer, because they can't come to us? So that was the second challenge we had to solve. Third would be, I think, just keeping up with the compliance on hygiene, compliance requirement on hygiene, on health and safety, and how do you make sure your staff are well protected, your customer are protected? Because if, say, people got COVID from consuming one of your product, I think that would tear your brand apart,
Right.
Fourth would be keeping everyone's morale strong. Because at the end of the day, if you have a market, if you have a team, but everyone is downbeat, I think it's very hard to get anything done efficiently. Yeah, so I think roughly those were the four challenges we had. I'm sure there's a lot more for everyone else. And we just solved it one by one. And I think there was one, we were fortunate because food delivery started right before COVID. So getting food to the customer was relatively solved because it was food delivery. Number two, solving the manpower issue. I think we were fortunate because our staff were understanding, accommodating, and they agreed to stay in the store. So for that lockdown period, my staff, asked permission from their parents, moved to the store, brought their home to the store, and they slept there, they ate there, and they worked there. 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, and zero pressure. We said, this is voluntary basis. If you feel like it, you do it. If you don't feel like it, don't do it. Yeah, it's whatever you guys want. But then again, my a lot of my staff are in their late teens and early 20s.
Yeah.
So for them, it was also an opportunity to be away from home and spend time with their coworkers and have fun, and eat and sleep. It's like a boarding experience in a way. So it was. I don't want to use the word win-win, but it was everybody had to take from it, and then complying with health safety. I think that was not too bad because we had the guidelines, right? Clean your hand, use mask, disinfect, etc., etc. So those were the challenges, and again, I don't want to overstate it, but it's okay. We were able to navigate because everybody else was going through it. Customers were understanding, and it's okay. Yeah.
And so today, so how many F&B? Obviously, you mentioned about KOI. So how many other F&B businesses are kind of, in your group now? As you say, you've been able to work with and start a handful more. Maybe just share a bit more about each one.
Roughly 8 or 9 F&B now. So KOI Thé. KOI Thé is a bubble tea brand. Then there's Tube Coffee.
Tube Coffee, yeah.
Tube
Inspired
Coffee,
by London, right?
Inspired by the London Underground Tube.
Yeah.
Our whole story is around the London Underground Tube. We wanted to go just to brief about Tube. We wanted to go into the coffee market. About 2 years after opening KOI, I think. Yeah, roughly 2 years after opening KOI. We knew at the time that we cannot go into brown Starbucks Glory Jean market segment because they're already doing well.
Yeah, they're so different price point, right?
Different price point, different experience. We knew we for sure cannot beat Brown's design. For sure we cannot beat Starbucks branding. For sure we cannot. So for sure we cannot beat these players in that segment already because they have very strong. They're good at what they're doing, and we didn't have any competitive advantage. So then we decided to go into the segment below it, which is what we call the more affordable takeaway segment, focusing on price and focusing on speed. And we decided to go into this market segment because we thought that we can bring values to the customers that our competitors at the time couldn't, which was good customer service, higher quality product, consistency. Consistency was key because there were so many complaints about our competitors being very inconsistent. It can be good in the morning, terrible in the evening. It can be good at store A, and then store B is you can't even drink it. It could be great with this staff, and Tuesday it would be bad. So they had so much consistency problem. Their customer service.
What were some of the competitors' brands at the time?
Can I not name it? But
that's okay.
They're still around today.
Okay.
But there's a lot of complaints, and these were areas of improvements that we thought we can bring to the table. And so let's go into that segment. And then we needed to find an inspiration, right, for our brand, our story. And I suggested the London Tube because, number one, I thought it was affordable. At the time when I was going to school, 5 quid
Yeah,
will
yeah.
get you all day pass throughout London, and
Yeah.
£5 to go to any corners of London all day is, for me, I think it's
Yeah.
cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The tube was efficient, fast, because they had a lot of trains. So
Yeah, yeah.
every few minutes you get another train coming, right? So it's
Right.
very fast. And it was good quality. I think the tube was, I don't know about today. Back when I was
Yeah.
in school, it was very clean,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was well maintained. Yeah, it was clean, well maintained. The air conditioning worked.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Don't
key.
know about today, but
Yeah.
yeah, 10 years ago, it
Some of
was
the
good.
lines are better than others. I think
Some of the lines were better than the other,
that's
yeah.
the key.
So I told my partners, hey, let's take that as an inspiration. We want it to be fast, like the tube. We want it to be affordable, like the tube, and we want it to be of good quality, like the tube. So let's call it Tube Coffee.
There you go.
Yeah, and that's how the name started.
Okay.
So now we have 45 stores in operation. This
Would that be
year-
the most amount of coffee shops of any brand in the country?
No, Amazon has 200.
Do they really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Brown has 45 now. I think Starbucks has 46, 50 now. Starbucks 50
Okay,
now.
so you're kind of in the same category as Brown and Starbucks. Yeah.
No, I think we
in terms
would
of
be-
amount of stores. Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of
Yeah, yeah.
But this year we're planning to open another 20
Okay.
to 30 stores. Hopefully by 2027 we can reach 100 stores. Yeah, in 2 years.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
good. I think that's a great story. And what about the other brands you were mentioning?
So we have a Japanese omakase restaurant called KOI Omakase. That's
Yeah.
my first foray, our first foray into Japanese cuisine. That is turning 5 this year. It's doing really well. I think we're the leading omakase brand, leading Japanese venue in Cambodia. So from that, we spring off into Kyo Wagyu, which focuses on beef. Also an omakase concept, but all about beef. And then we ventured off into Kyo Shabu, which focuses on hot pot. So
Oh yeah,
Japanese
shabu.
hot pot,
Yeah,
in TK.
that's cool. I know that. I think I've been to a few of those in Bangkok. It's like
Yeah.
really popular there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's doing well in Cambodia. If I'm not wrong, I think it's the leading shabu brand now.
Okay.
We're opening one next door to you here, and
Okay. Cool.
in the garden.
Yeah.
Opening another one in Choi Yong Wa. Hopefully one in Sinoville end of the year, and we just came back from Vietnam last week. This week, actually, Monday to Wednesday, we were in Vietnam to find a location to open Kyo Shabu there.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
and if we do manage to do it successfully, this will be Cambodia's first F&B brand to go outside of Cambodia. Yeah, so Kyo
Congrats.
Shabu. Then we got into a Chinese hot pot also called GēGē Kitchen. GēGē Kitchen is good quality food at a very affordable price. So under $10, you can enjoy Australian beef, fresh handmade soup, freshly made every day. Not, the factory made soup base where you just add water and then it turns into a hot pot. This is like freshly made every day from the chef. So good quality Chinese soup, but under $10 per person. Then there's also the belly burger.
Yeah.
Fresh quality smash burger. There you go. So belly focus on using, and this is where a lot of customers doubt us, and this is where my team has failed to date in communicating to the customer. We use fresh, never frozen beef. And people say it's not possible to have fresh, never frozen beef in Cambodia from Australia. We use fresh, never frozen beef from the western part of Australia. It's never frozen because from the source all the way to Cambodia, it's cold chain at 0 to 3 degrees Celsius. So it's never frozen. And then the patty is cut and chopped every day and it's smashed for you every day. So when you bite into it, the beef is juicy. And it's not your factory-made compact beef that is super dry. This
Right.
is juicy beef, and when you squeeze it, you can see the juice coming out. So
Right.
it's really high-quality beef. Good cheese, fresh veggies, homemade sauce. We don't do the store-bought sauce where you squeeze. This is like some guys in the kitchen stirring the sauce. Every day. But we need to find a way to better communicate this message, because a lot of people say it's BS. There's no way you're doing fresh, never frozen beef in Cambodia. So yeah, belly burger, and then we're doing yellow cap pizza. So yellow cap pizza is a New York style pizza.
Yeah. And that's been around a while. Yeah. I feel
That's
like.
been around since 2020. Yeah, about
Okay. Oh, 2020. Okay.
5 years now. Yeah,
Yeah.
five.
Yeah.
About 5 years. Yeah, 5 years now.
Okay.
What else? I think that's about it. Belly, yellow cab, kaka, shabu, wagyu, omakase, KOI Thé.
So you the Keo brand, right? You conceptualized that yourselves, right?
Yeah, it's made locally.
It's made, okay.
It's a local brand.
It's a
Yeah.
local brand. Yeah, got it. And
Yeah.
then you're saying as you're exploring taking it, one part of it to Vietnam,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's exciting.
Anywhere overseas,
Yeah,
anywhere. I think now we've been doing this for 11 years now. So I think it's time we look for a new game, change the level and try. If we fail, we fail. At least we tried. But if we don't try, we never know. And I think the Cambodian market is growing, but at the moment,
yeah. F&B is not it's not been that easy in the last few years, right?
No.
Like there's been a lot of people. I mean, I think the good brands stay strong, and there's a crowding towards the good brands. Like
good brands are surviving.
Yeah, okay, good brands. Right. So
Keyword surviving.
Yeah, so like Kung Fu Kitchen, for example, I think it's like a good example of one that just kind of grew quite quickly.
Yeah, they've done a good job.
They've done a
Yeah,
good job.
Sean, the owner, he's very creative guy. He's done a good job. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, what do you think the main challenges are? Is it just an oversupply of places?
Oversupply, very saturated, diminishing market, because I think economy's not good, so people are reducing their spending and going out less, and each time they go out, they also spend less. So you have a growing number of competition, new brands, new competitors come in every day, but you have less customers to share. So the pie is getting small, but more people are joining the table to eat it.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's F&B today is not as easy as it used to be 10 years ago.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
I feel like the quality required, the standard, the marketing, all that good stuff, and also human capital, right?
Yeah.
Like just recruiting the right people.
Yeah.
And talk to us a bit about I know F&B is not the only thing you do. You've already got it sounds like a lot on your plate just with the F&B stuff. But what are some other businesses or other things that you've been involved with?
So we have a footprint in the service sector. We have service, property, and tech. Tech is a new baby. Service sector, we have Orkin. Orkin is a pest control company from the US, largest in the world, largest in Cambodia. And Orkin has been around since 1901. So it's a very old company, very old brand. Yeah. It's from Georgia, the same place where Coca-Cola was born, same place where CNN was born. So it's a city that cultivated a lot of good brands, one of it being Orkin.
Yeah, I can see that. I think your main office is just at the south part of BKK1, right?
It used to be.
Oh, sorry. And they
now
still
it's
got a few trucks there.
TK now.
Oh, it's now in TK. Okay.
But yeah, our truck and our tuk-tuk are relatively spread out throughout town, just servicing different customers. So yeah, Orkin, we do pest control service, termite service.
Yeah. Has that become more? I'm just curious. Is that of course, the amount of rodents in a particular city is probably relatively stable, but I think it's the humans that get annoyed by those. As a country develops, I think people don't like to tolerate as much, right?
Yeah.
Has that been a business that has just been like a steady eddy, booming business? There you go.
It's booming in every era. So even when there's an economic downturn, it's still booming. Even during COVID, it was still booming.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. And I think we have been fortunate to have a good team, a very good team. In fact, I feel very proud to tell you that for multiple years, so it's been we have been doing this for 8 years now. Within that 8 years, I think we have received, if I'm not wrong, 3 awards from the US headquarters. One, I think it was right before COVID for being the fastest growing franchise in the world among 80 countries.
Wow.
Another one for highest growth in terms of percentage. And recently we received an Eagle Award. They only give one per year. And last year it was awarded to Cambodia for best franchisee. Last year we received a visit from the sales manager of Auckland branch in the US. Sorry, Auckland branch in Singapore.
Okay.
He was suggested by the headquarters in the US, come to Auckland, Cambodia, figure out what they're doing because they're doing something right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it used to be a story where Cambodians go abroad to observe, right? But now we have case incidents where now we have foreigners from a much more developed country like Singapore coming to Cambodia to observe us. What are they doing correctly?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So Orkin, it's good it's growing. It's good it's growing because as the country develops, as you mentioned, standards grow. People want a better life, and I think managing pests is one of it. For health purposes, for hygiene purposes, for image purposes. If you have a guest over at your house, I don't think you would want them to see a cockroach coming out of your kitchen. So even if you're not disgusted by it, you will at least want to make sure your image is protected as an individual, right? Yeah. So for various different reasons, I think people now understand that they need pest control. And it's not just for businesses. We have a lot of residential clients. Yeah.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. People with elderly parents at home, they might not want mosquito to bite them. People with young babies at home, they don't want mosquito to bite them. Yeah. So many different reasons why people would need pest control now.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. And okay, so that's
Orkin.
And
then we started a fumigation company. It's called Fumex. So Fumex does fumigation service for rice, for beans, for corns, essentially agricultural products that needs to be exported, has to be fumigated before the receiving country take it in.
Right.
Because it's to prevent foreign-born pests going into your country.
Right.
That, and then recently we got ourselves into a cleaning company called IFS. Janitorial service, deep clean service, specialized cleaning service. So that's the service segment, the boring side. Then we got a bit into property development. Small.
Yeah.
It's a new thing for us too. We started with a small office building. That has worked out okay so far. It's fully leased out in this day and time.
Wow, that's pretty good for commercial real estate.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
Now we're raising a few more projects. Let's see how it goes. And then the last baby that we got into is a tech company. It's called Mon Akom Technology. And Mon Akom in Khmer means magic. And when I was younger, I watched Harry Potter. And it was amazing to be able to command things with just a whisk of your hand, Yeah. Or with just your thoughts. Or maybe saying a few words and things just show up, Yeah. From the comfort of your seat, right?
Right.
So the idea is to use software, offer software as that kind of all-powerful magic to our clients. So clients can command reports, clients can command operations, client can command a vast array of features and function at the point of their fingertip without moving their body. And that's magic. Yeah, to get report on a whim, And soon we're integrating kind of like the AI and voice command function into the system. So in the future, you don't even have to click to get the report. You just voice command. Can you get me the sales report from February last year? And then can you compare it to February this year? How did we do? Are we doing better or are we worse? And after you draw up the report and you determine if we're doing better or worse, can you tell me why we're doing better or worse? What are some potential areas I can improve on?
That's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like that's quite helpful for Cambodia, for more people to use those kinds of things. Is that a crowded market? Who do you compete with on
It's
that?
slowly becoming crowded. A lot of people go into it. Our advantage would be that we are developing the software from the end user, which is us being in the F&B sector.
Yeah.
So we know the pain points, or we know what we want, we know what we need, we know.
So more so for like SMEs, right? Would you say? Like
For now, mainly in F&B. So
in F&B,
we start with F&B first, and then retail, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I know of a few companies doing that. Like I think one's called Hang Papok, Krip Krong, a few others. Yeah.
A lot. There's a lot now. Yeah. So,
but no, not that many of the like I'd say these like international. What would be like an international brand that's doing that?
that's
like,
quite a lot too.
Yeah. Has an operation in Cambodia, because that's always the unique thing about a market like this is a lot of these like big software players they might be selling it into the market a bit, but like they don't have a team, right? So they're not really going to win.
I think that they don't care enough.
They don't care enough, right? Like, so for example, this HR software company that we invested in, of course, there's so many HR software companies in the world, but very few of them have decided that they would like to put a team in Cambodia. Yeah. So there's that opportunity for like a local winner that's more customized to the market and has like actual like customer service and things like that. Because I think a lot of people, they need a bit more like, I mean, in a place like this, right? That you can't just expect to just sell someone the software and they'll just start using it, right? There is a little bit of kind of like process of getting them comfortable with all the different functions, right? Yeah.
It's a growing market, both in terms of demand and supply.
But you'd have to go to sign a client up. You have to actually literally go to them, right? You can't. Can you do it online?
At the moment, you have to go to them to sell it.
Right.
But the dream would be to reach a point where we can scale, we can grow without any help to the customer. They will be able to kind of figure by themselves how to download, how to install, how to set up and get things going,
Right.
Like downloading a Telegram.
Right.
For example, nobody has to come and teach you how to use it.
Right.
So that's the goal. That's one of the milestones. I think for now we still have to go and educate the customer how to use it. My perspective on it, this market, is that a lot of businesses are still relying on manual processes. So it's a blue ocean.
It's Excel sheets and I mean
some still do by hand.
Or even by hand.
Yeah, you still see a lot of mom and pop shops, where the owner is cooking, grocery shopping in the morning, and then they're still taking your order at the table, and then when you want to pay, they come with their money penny,
right?
And then we say, okay, it's 2,000 real, and then here's your change. So I think if you look at the international brands, obviously they're already digitized, right? But if you look at micro, small, and a lot of medium-sized businesses in Cambodia, I think the level of penetration it's just a tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of room to grow. We just have to ride the wave and wait for the economy to grow, wait for these businesses to grow, and wait for micro, small, and medium size to be redefined, have a bigger budget. Then they will start to look for these kind of things, right? And so at this point in time of the market, it's a good thing to have a lot of players, because essentially everybody is helping everybody. All the competition are helping each other to educate the market. And essentially everyone is working hard to recruit new customers into this ecosystem, right?
Right.
And maybe 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now, then after the customer made the first step of going into venturing into this technology, this tool, they will start to think about how can I get a better tool. And I think that's when I think that's when things will get a bit more difficult, and that's when each player will need to kind of better define their unique selling points and value proposition to continue growing.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I'm curious. Like, what's it been like? Like yourself, like building like a tech business versus like doing more like an F&B business. What are some of the things that are different about trying to grow each of those?
The learning curve is F&B. I think tech has a lot more learning curve than F&B. F&B is more tedious. There's a lot of like small things that you have to look at. There's a lot of details you have to look into. I think tech also, but the learning curve for tech is a lot more complicated, I think. Yeah. Finding people who is knowledgeable about this in Cambodia is also very challenging.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of programmer developers, and then the few that are available are being like fought over by many companies. So the salary base is very high, much higher than you for $300 a month. You can find a relatively good barista. For $600 a month, you can't find a good programmer. Basic entry level, you can find a good. And when I say good, I'm not talking about someone who's a genius at coding. I just someone who's responsible, meticulous, so that you don't have to double check their work all the time. Proactive, fast, working, and kind enough to want to get things done, and just the basic attribute.
Right.
Good at $600 is hard to find. Yeah. So that just to give you a benchmark of. So actually, if students know about this, I think they should choose to go in. More should choose to go into IT, because there's a huge demand for this now, and there's very limited supply.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the other thing is you have a lot of these tools, right? That help you code. That's at least what people are saying, right? Like AI is going to be able to do a lot of the coding, but of course you still need the programmers and developers to check everything, coordinate it. What do you think of like the overall startup space in Cambodia? Do you think it's gone through like some waves of activity? Where would you put it at today, and what are you excited about, if at all?
For which segment?
But I guess technology in general.
I'm not sure I'm qualified to answer that question. I don't know enough about the tech industry yet.
When we got to see, of course, like, and we actually hope to have them on the podcast. We've invited them, and they said that they should be available for it in Q2. Is the Grab team and the NAM24 team to talk about like, that whole journey, which I think it's the best. It's the most notable example of an acquisition in Cambodian startup history, right?
Yeah.
I mean, no one really knows exactly what the number is, but it'll probably be declared in Grab's quarterly report.
Yeah.
But I mean, Grab's a $20 billion company, and it's cool to see probably the most well-known startup in Singapore, acquire NAM24.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a good momentum, at least this year, to see a deal like that. But then what's interesting is kind of like a lot of this first wave of founders, what do they do once they've got the exit, right? Do they then start their own VC firms or start more tech companies and really kind of try and like kind of create that flywheel of new companies?
Right.
That's what I'm sort of interested
Curious,
in, on how that might unfold.
Yeah.
What do you see? What do you see happening over the years?
Again, I don't think I have enough experience and knowledge in the tech industry yet. But if you ask me generally speaking, as a business, as an entrepreneur, I think that the entry to barrier is still low. You know, you don't have to go through a hurdle of paperwork regulation to start up a tech company. Unlike in the US or like a more developed country, I think there will be a billion things that you have to check off the list before you can start something, you know? So entry to barrier is relatively low. Startup cost in Cambodia is also relatively low. To rent an office here, if you compare it, we don't have to go that far. If you compare it to Bangkok or Ho Chi Minh City, for example, to be at the center of town, you know, to have a good spot to start, it's relatively cheap here. So capital-wise, also not bad. In terms of market, Cambodia is not a huge market, but it's a sizable market. It's enough for you to test the ground. So I guess from an entrepreneur perspective, it's not a bad place to consider doing your startup here. There's less risk if you fail because you lose less, you know. Yet there's enough market for you to test your concept. Yeah, and if it works out in this smaller market with less competition, now you have accumulated some kind of base. You have accumulated stability. You have accumulated, more importantly, confidence. Confidence in yourself as a entrepreneur to jump into the next bigger market, which could be Thailand, Vietnam, Myanmar, Laos, Philippines, Indonesia, etc. You know, so to answer from a general perspective, yes, I think Cambodia is a fantastic place to consider for your startup. Easier to start and easier to scale. Easier to build your foundation, and then from here you can leapfrog to bigger countries.
Right, and generally get some level of cash flow because the market is. I mean, obviously there are some sectors that are quite competitive, but I think there even in the startup space there is still like an ability to like you don't have a bunch of competitors just throwing cash at the problem. Like maybe in like Q-commerce, right? Like you get like a lot of people like Wow Now and Grab and Foodpanda. Like that's obviously these are billion-dollar companies. It's like hard to keep to like stay profitable when you have to keep spending to win. But yeah, I think other sectors are a bit more okay. What would you say your overall outlook is for 2025 for the economy in Cambodia? What do you see that looks good? What do you think that's gonna stay pretty depressed? I mean, of course, everyone says, you know, real estate hasn't, you know, is still kind of going through this, going through this like bottoming out process in many ways.
I wouldn't have. I want to start by saying that I don't have enough data, information, footprint in all these industries to speak for them on behalf of them. But just judging from hearsay, you know, coffee talks with friends in all these different sectors, I think 2025 should be proceeded with caution. It's a very gray. It's very gray. You know, you don't know if it's gonna rain or the sun is gonna come. The sun is gonna come out. You know, but both could happen. You know, it could be good by the end of the year, or it could get worse. There's no clear prediction. Yeah, I think generally that's the consensus, the mood that we all have. For particular industries, again, I'm not an expert in a lot of these industries to speak on their behalf, but I think at least from what we see on the headlines, tourism is improving, but is not improving at a pace where most tourist-related companies would be happy with. But it's improving, you know, it's a good thing. Hopefully the new airport will push that momentum more. Construction, I think, is relatively slow, but it's also moving. The good thing is that it's not staying still and completely dead. You know, at least it's some movement and it's marginally growing. So that's looking from a positive perspective. F&B, I think right now, not in the best shape, because we rely a lot on consumers who make money from construction and tourism. So when
Right, that's
tourism
good,
is
good
slow
point, yeah.
and construction is slow, F&B is very slow. Yeah.
Right.
Industry is doing well from what I heard. A lot of factories are coming, with the tariff war happening
Right,
around the
right.
world. So a lot of factories are relocating to Cambodia. So that's a good thing. It's growing. More jobs are being created there. A lot of exports are growing. If you look at export numbers, yeah, we're growing every year, growing by double digits, so it's good. Agriculture is growing, I think, if I'm not wrong. We're exporting more rice. We're pushing cashew nut a lot more. Our rubber is growing. So agriculture, I think, is receiving a lot of attention from the government. More people are investing into it. It seems there's more potential to be had. Yeah.
No, that's a good summary. Yeah. No, I think of course this like tariff uncertainty creates issues. I don't think like Cambodia is unlikely to be like too affected by it. If anything, you say it's like net positive because people are diversifying out of China primarily. Yeah, and so, but I think the other big thing that will impact Cambodia, but of course it's like slightly let's say less commercial sectors, is of course the whole USAID thing, right? And just like that whole thing just coming to an end, which is a quite an abrupt thing for a country like
They
Cambodia.
resume funding for the mining effort.
For the mining, okay. So
Yeah.
so for some things,
Yeah.
but there's a lot that's just been like fully cancelled, right? As
I don't know.
understand.
That
Okay.
one, I don't know. I wouldn't know enough to say.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I've been like hearing, at least from like people that I know in like the NGO community here, is like there's been a lot of change.
Yeah.
So and a lot of funding that is no longer reliable. But yeah, anyway, but yeah, I mean, it's always going to be a bit challenging, but I think at least as you say in the technology space, there's a lot of ways that you can create Cambodia be your kind of test market, and then if you're building like a software business, you can operate that from anywhere. So
Yeah.
that's one thing we're seeing. Actually, we've got this Cambodia blockchain summit tomorrow, taking place at NUM.
Right.
Which is kind of interesting. I mean, I feel like Thailand's made a big push in that area.
Right.
So things like that, right? These industries where it's like you could be based somewhere, right, running a team, but you'd be interfacing with a global industry.
Right.
So anyway, there's definitely some interesting stuff across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of potentials in Cambodia. There are money to be made, and there are some advantages to doing businesses here. I think especially for startup, as you've raised a very good point in that in Cambodia you don't have to fight with giants, corporate giants,
you don't.
and that in itself is already a very strong and valid point to consider Cambodia.
Right.
And when you're a startup, for sure you'll make mistakes, and the first year or two you're still scrambling to figure out. You're still trying to figure out that market fit for your product,
Right.
and you don't want to go through that journey while at the same time getting pressure on all these giants, and at the same time, burning through cash because you have to pay high salary, expensive rent, and et cetera, right? And I think in that perspective, Cambodia is relatively charming a location to start up, Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like big things like, I mean, there's like things like Stripe, like Shopify, like some of these like, or like even like I remember when we talked to the someone who built Ritti, who built a laptop brand here, or helped assemble it here and all that, called Kumpi, and it was sort of asking about, okay, what about Asus and Dell and like these other brands that you compete with? Do they have a presence here? Like, no, of course not. Like, they just don't. They just distribute and whatever. So you have this like opportunity to like really be a local brand before a local winning brand before like all these bigger entrants like try and come in. Yeah, what would I mean if there was any piece of advice that you try and give like someone listening to this that's like wants to be an entrepreneur one day? I mean, there's always like the rosy advice, right? But what are the like what's the advice that you give someone to like to be prepared for what's to come if they are going to go down that journey? Yeah. And it's probably not for everyone, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
You will have a lot of problems. There will be a lot of stress. Pressure will be around every corner. And you just have to do it. I think if there is never a perfect time and you will never feel ready. I think you just have to wake up one day, make up your mind and just do it. And then tell yourself that you just have to solve each problem one by one as you encounter it. Because to expect to wake up one day, feel super energetic, mentally ready, physically, like amped, and say, today, I'm going to start a company. You will never have that day. You will never have that day. Yeah. And so I think Nike's slogan is very good, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it and then figure it out along the way. And no successful man in this world, not saying I am successful, knows everything, or has a solution to every problem. I think you just have to kind of, you just have to hang out with the right people. Hang out with the right people, kind of know where to find answers. Because don't expect yourself to have the answer to every question, solutions to every problem. I think a lot of it you can find from people around you and ChatGPT.
Right.
So yeah, just do it.
Okay.
Just do it.
Cool. Well, yeah. On that note, yeah. Thanks for taking the time. It's been great to learn about all the businesses you're working on. And yeah, looking forward to the continued success of everything.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. It's my first podcast.
Cool.
Yeah, and I am now in your neighborhood.
Yes. Yes.
Please guide us to your neighborhood.
Yeah. Looking forward. Yeah. Looking forward to all the F&Bs that's opening out here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.